Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 5 of the anime series Shouwa Genroku Rakugo Shinjuu. And this one was all about the payoff, I'm telling you. As I'm watching this one, I'm largely uncertain as to Shin's motives in putting together this onstage play performance, which he sidled Bon into being involved in, and the requirements of Bon's role in this thing is to dress in all out-and-out drag, because he is, portraying a male character trying to pass himself off as a woman. And it's quite interesting that because it speaks to the playful rivalry there, between them, that adversarial nature, whereas you have Bon being very much the straight-laced. He is aggressively trying to rehearse and learn and master this part. And you have Shin just kind of coming home with a couple of ladies of the night. He just wants to have some fun. He's very impetuous, as we know. And he wants to have a party and all that kind of stuff. It seems as though he doesn't take it that seriously. He's much more aloof, and we see them butting heads because of this. Bond completely cuts him off, doesn't let him get any headway. He's like, these women want to stay. They gotta play triple the fee to come into our digs and everything. And they're like, what about our fee and all that kind of stuff? So you do have that adversarial rivalry thing going on, where of course Shin is completely upset with this, and there's the playful aspect where he's like, look, you're pissier than usual. If you want to use me as your punching bag, metaphorically speaking, you can. And you have Bon throwing all the hot coals at him and everything like that. And what's interesting is the insight into Bon's nature, which again, as I sort of talked about a little bit in the previous episode discussion video, there are some questions about his sort of mindset on all of these things when it pertains to women and, his uncomfortability around them and what his interests really might be. But I think it's quite interesting that there is a sort of classism going on in his mentality, where he looks upon these, ladies of the night as being very low class and even no class. And he wants, a woman of a higher class, a more debonair, sort of svelte woman and everything like that, which is what he kind of sort of implies in his dialogue is how he feels about Miyokichi, to a point in any case. But I find it fascinating then, of course, when she sort of, comes upon him walking down the road and persuades him to come back to her place and everything like that. They are getting kind of close, but at the same time, there is a distance in how he's behaving around her, and it looks very much as though whereas there isn't an attraction, I almost had to sort of look at it like maybe Bon is looking at her from a almost extension of a maternal support, because he does very literally rest his head on her shoulder, and he takes comfort in her massaging his leg, which he has the pain in and everything, although he says it's kind of depleting over time, and his cane is kind of very much a metaphorical crutch as much as it is a physical one. And that whole idea of his needing someone to confide in, he uses her availability to that effect to basically reveal he's involved in this play because of the idiot that talked him into it, Shin, and everything like that, and what part he's playing. And then, of course, Miyokichi just laughs abundantly at this. She's giddy as all hell. She wants to help make him up for the role and everything like that. And it's cute, and it's, endearing and hilarious. And even though there is a level of, of course, Shin is just having a grand time of things as well when he's, backstage. We see that he is concerned about putting on as good a performance as he can. He wants to make the audience happy. But he is very cocksure. He is very, sort of assured in himself that this is going to go off without a hitch. And he's poking fun, at Bon backstage when Miyokichi's doing him up with all the makeup, calling him Fox Face and everything like that. You got the little Afro kid who, on stage, we never even see the Afro. So what was the point? Or whatever, that giant, hairball, a big tribble on his head. I don't know, but it's all kinds of hilarious. But what really, is resounding about this is how captivated the audience is, and very much to Shin's promise. Bon is literally the object of attention throughout the course of this. they know who they are, very, very much is that explicit in the fact that they're calling out their names and everything, Sukoroku and all that kind of stuff. And subsequently, brief aside, back when there was that rivalry in the earlier scene between Bon and Shin, when Bon all out now calls him Sukoroku, now Shin knows he's not playing around. He's really touched on her, that kind of thing. But this performance, it was such a grand spectacle, in that the whole time Bon is really coming to appreciate Shin was right. They are really just eagle-eyeing me. They can't take their eyes off of me. And it's, I think, part and parcel of this particular performance, where I guess he's coming off believably enough as a woman, and they're captivated by the idea that, no, this is a guy, playing this role. And as it is revealed, the crowd roars. They are completely just won over by Bon's performance. And so why it is so, elating to me and captivating to me is because we see in the congratulations shared between Shin and Bon afterward, Shin is just so ecstatic that his promise held true, and that he was able to gift Bon with this level of success that Bon has struggled so hard for in mastering Rakugo and finding his voice for it and all this kind of stuff. It is just the greatest level of, brotherly partnership simpatico that I could have ever wanted to see between them. It's like the peak of their relationship, the positive side of the relationship, as opposed to, the rivalry and everything. And to see that Shin pulled this off, he was able to, do that for Bon, to give Bon, again, just this grand elation of his own, to know what Shin has been going through every time he's had these successes, every time he's gotten acclaim and all this kind of stuff, to have that feeling of actually succeeding in an artistic performance framework. And like the whole comical thing with the manager, the theater manager, trying to take their pictures and everything, and Bon doesn't want to be still in costume, but of course it ends up happening anyway. It just really made me, almost misty-eyed. I was grinning and just really almost misty-eyed, because finally Bon gets a taste for that success. He finally gets to see what that feeling is like, what it's all about. The entire crowd, they were just transfixed with him. They couldn't take their eyes off him. And his entire turn of performance, whether as a product of just disrobing on stage and proving himself to be the man that he is in the role as well as in the performance, I don't know, what exactly it is about that that's so captivated the audience. But the point is, when they cheered, when they applauded, when they, just yelled out names and everything, they were speaking to him. They were giving accolades to him. And to see Shin just so elated and ecstatic and so just brilliant, bouncing off the walls because he did this for Bon. It's just this grand level of success on so many levels, not only professionally, but interpersonally between them. And again, just I was ear to ear grinning. I loved it. It just made this whole episode where I'm like, but what's the catch? Well, there wasn't really one, thankfully, because I had to almost suspect, Shin was pulling a fast one, as per his impetuous nature and just conniving and all that kind of stuff. Like, was there going to be a point where the other shoe drops? Shin sort of gets the better of Bon, and this would speak to an even greater rift between them and all that kind of stuff. And that wasn't the case at all. And so it was just utmost beautiful to me. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you've seen episode 5 of Shouwa Genroku Rakugo Shinjuu, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you found it as sort of just gratifying to see them coming together and to see that bond between them strengthened, and the joy that they could share mutually in Bon's success, in gaining that attention and owning that role, and just finally having succeeded on a level he so desired for so long, as gifted by this friendly rival, this partner that is Shin, Sukeroku, you know, it's like, it speaks also to somewhat of a travesty to come in their, whatever it is that it is involved, in their eventual having to part, whether that's whatever this accident, kind of thing is that sees to Shin's death, Sukeroku's death, or if it's something that happens before that, like falling out over a woman or something along those lines, whatever it happens to be. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Anything goes in the comments below. Our POVs can certainly disagree, so love it or hate it, anything goes. Just love having that conversation. And yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.